Hello everyone, and today we're going to be talking through the Magic Carpet boards from Tabou and how to set up each board to get the most out of using them, how I set them up for tuning for each discipline that the board's designed around. So the board's designed around being able to be used as a Sup-Foil board, as a wing foil board and as a windsurf board. So really it is a jack of all trades. So if I start with how I set up the board for windsurf foiling, basically I'm going to be using our hybrid foils as the examples of how I use, what size and how I set them up. So for the windsurf foiling, basically what I like to be using is the standard hybrid foil package with the deep tuttle box setup and the 85 standard length mast and fuselage, which come as standard, with the 1200 front wing. Now the front wing, you can actually use a 900, which is what it used to come with as production, but I think for people that are just starting to get into wing foiling, that maybe want to have a little bit more power, maybe go out in lighter wind conditions, then a 1200 is a good place to start. And also then you can look at, if for a stronger wind combination, buying the 900 as a front wing add-on. The standard fuselage length is either 85 or 95. Either one of these feels great as in the deep tuttle position. Now basically looking at the board, it depends on if you're a first-time foiler or whether you've had a lot of experience and you're looking for a bit more of advanced setup. For the beginners, I recommend having the foot strap positions in the inside of the board, and basically I have the back foot strap all the way back and I have the front foot strap one from the front, in the fronts, out inside inserts. And this is a good place to start. If you're a little bit smaller, then I'm 6 foot, so if you're a little bit smaller, then you might find that you want to move your front foot strap position further back. If you're a bit taller, then obviously going further forward. And for this, it's pretty stable positioning. Mast track position, whilst using the inner inserts, board foot strap inserts, then I would put my mast track in the middle of the track, and that's pretty much a basic setup. You're probably going to be using a slightly smaller sail than someone that's foiling with a lot of experience. So let's say, for example, you're probably using something around a 6 meter mark as your beginner foil setup. As you're using bigger sails, you might find that you might want to adjust where you have your mast track. You might want to push it a little bit further forward so you have a little bit more purchase and easier to lift in the beginning. When you're more experienced as well, you might want to start using your outer foot straps on the board. This allows you to get a more of a locked out feeling, and you're not having to concentrate on just being up and over the foil. You can really lean out, lean forward and try to close the slot and maximize the speed you get out your foil. So for this, I always found like putting my mast track a little bit further forward helped, especially when using like a sail, like one of our free ride, air ride sails. So like, for example, I always like to use the 5/7, and for that I almost have my mast track all the way forward, and then I have my front foot straps on the outer positions in the front all the way forward, and my back foot also on the outside insert positions and all the way back. So I've got basically quite a wide footed stance, and then I can kind of rock back and forward just to help get myself up onto the foil, or to control and push on my front foot to keep the foil in the water when I'm going as fast as I can. So that's basically how I would set up the Magic Carpet for windsurfing conditions. Now if we're moving on to wing foiling, again it pretty much depends on your skill level, and basically what I use is I use the plate system, which is the US track system. That way I'm able to place my foil further forward on the board, and this allows me to be able to step further forward to when I'm actually up on the foil. I'm not just positioned back to where the foot straps are, because I want to be able to move around the board a little bit more freely when I'm winging. So I generally set up the track positions to be all the way forward, and when I have them all the way forward and I'm using a standard fuselage. For normal guys, you're probably going to start off learning on a 2000 front wing, and that's a really good all-round starting place to learn to wing foil. If you're a slightly bigger guy, you might use the 2500 as your preferred light wind foil setup. And again, if you're a bit lighter, then you would use the 1500. All these foils come in the hybrid package, and you're able to kind of mix and match and add on to it. And most of the hybrid foils also come with a standard fuselage length, which is an 85 centimeter. Now, with wing foiling, as you become more advanced, you tend to drop down to a smaller wing foil size. So you would go down from, say, using a 2000 foil to a 1500 or maybe even a 1200. But for now, all I recommend using is the 1500 with the magic carpet as your smallest one, just because I find that when you go a little bit smaller, then you kind of can struggle a little bit when you're going through the lulls. The board tends to lose its power. It's a bit harder to keep it up on the foil. But if you're a beginner and you're looking for masts to have like kind of foot strap positions, then I would also use the inner foot strap positions. Again, having my back foot all the way back and my front foot strap all the way forward, then you can adjust from that and see if that's a suitable stance for you. If you're a bit smaller, lighter build, you might find like you want to have your foot straps in a narrower position. So that's basically how I'd set up it for wing foiling. If you're using a shorter fuselage, again, you're gonna find that you're gonna need to keep your weight a little bit further back on the board and keep your speed up, just to be able to keep it up and foiling easier. So you might find that if you haven't already got the US plate system all the way forward, then you might want to move it forward just so you have more power on the foil to allow you to get up and foiling earlier. So that's how you get set up for the wing foil positions on the magic carpet. And now finally, if you're ever going to go out and you're going to try Sup-Foiling, which this board is also suitable for learning, then I recommend starting off trying to go foiling in waves which are not necessarily that big. It's quite smooth. The texture of the water is quite smooth. That makes it easy for you to paddle and be stable on. Otherwise, if you go out and it's onshore and there's a lot of chop, you can be very unstable and it can be quite difficult to paddle up to speed and get up onto the wave and foil. But in general, like somewhere in England where the waves are not traveling so fast, you can usually use probably the 2000 front foil wing as for the majority of conditions, unless you're starting to deal with sizable wave height, in which case you would probably want to jump down to a smaller size like the 1500. And if you're a lighter guy, sub 80 kilos, maybe the 1200 will also be suitable for you. Again, as you get more advanced, then you can also jump to a shorter fuselage. This will allow you to get this pumping action a lot more easier, whereas like the long fuselage is basically acting as being more stable. It keeps you up, but it's more harder to kind of rock and pump. When I'm Sup-Foiling, I'm generally not using any foot straps at all, but if you are going out in slightly more challenging conditions and the texture of the water isn't super smooth, then you might want to use the positions that you would have on your wing foil positions, and that way you're able to keep your feet locked into a stable and be locked into the board. That way you're not lifting off, and you're able to kind of have some sort of purchase and grip onto the board when you're paddling frantically trying to get up onto the foil. So that's basically a brief description of how I would set up each of the disciplines so you're able to get the most from your Magic Carpet board. So again, it's a very good combination is when buying a Magic Carpet board is to buy one of our hybrid foils as well. And the hybrid foils come in different package types, but I recommend if you're doing more winging or supping, then to buy straight away the 2000 foil package. If you're looking at doing more windsurf foiling, then buying the 1200 hybrid windsurf foil package. And then you can just build the add-ons. We have different size masts, we have different size fuselages. Everything is interchangeable to make it possible for you to personalize your foiling experience with any of these disciplines. So get out there and enjoy that Magic Carpet because it's an absolutely great board.